My name's Adrian Porter. I came to the college in 1978. I'd left school. I had no idea what I was going to do. I'd hated school. I had very few O-levels, as they were then, GCSEs now. And it was the summer of 78, and my old man, my father said to me, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't know." And he tossed the prospectus across the table at me, because it wasn't online in those days. He tossed the prospectus across the table. He said, "Have a look at that." And I said, "Okay." I thought, more education. It hasn't worked out well so far. So anyway, I came up and I did sociology, economics, politics, geography as well at the time, at O-levels, and I really enjoyed it. And all of a sudden, I was doing well, and I was enjoying education, and I met some good people here. So I carried on, and I did A-levels, and sociology and politics were my best subjects, and I was particularly inspired by a sociology lecturer at the time, a guy called James Davis, who I found absolutely inspirational. And I remember in the first year of my A-levels, I walked along the front of the college, and there was a guy I knew who was in one of my classes, and he was fixing his car. And I just remember, I thought he must be quite a wealthy kid because he's got a car. Because the background I came from, we didn't have cars at that stage. And he said to me, "Are you going to apply for university?" And I thought to myself, I have no idea what university is. Because at the time, I think it was about 5% of the population went to university, and even fewer working class kids from my background just didn't, well, it happened, but not very often. So I went home, and by then, my father unfortunately had died. He died when I was 16, he was 40, while I was here at college. So I said to my mum, "Mum, what's university?" And she said, "I don't know." So I spoke to one of the lecturers. I said, "Look, somebody suggested I should apply for university." And I said, "Yeah, you should, yeah." "Okay, how do I do it?" And there was a little room down here with all the university prospectuses, and I'd applied to 5 universities. I spoke to James Davis. Essex University at the time had a fantastic sociology department, still has a very good sociology department, but that was one of the key sociology departments in the country. And I applied, and I got my A-levels, and I went there. And it is no exaggeration to say that Waltham College changed my life. After school, I absolutely loved it. It was fantastic, because it was completely different from school. We didn't have to wear uniform. I remember James Davis walking into the class the first day, and he said, "Hi, my name's James." I thought, wow, what, Mr. James? And there was just a sense of you being treated, although we were daft kids, but being treated a little more like adults. I met people I probably wouldn't have met otherwise here. And I have great memories. We used to hang around on the bridge. I don't know if it's still there, but yeah. And at the time, I was really into music, and the punk thing was big at the time, and we used to hang around up there during lessons, little break time, talking about music, talking about the bands that were around at the time, and yeah, I enjoyed the courses. I mean, I loved the courses. I really enjoyed studying, which was well, since primary school, that was the first for me. So yeah, I have fabulous memories. It helped me because I saw an aspect of life that I likely would never. It changed a couple of people's lives actually, because my mate at the time, he was an apprentice mechanic here. So we used to see. He came one day a week, and we used to see each other. And then I was enjoying the academic side, and I went off to university, which I would never have done if I hadn't come here. It would never have happened. And interestingly, because he was a mechanic at the time, it was the YTS scheme. I think he was being paid about 17 quid a week. And he was getting miserable. So he came here and did a night course, and he ended up doing IT. And then he came to see me in my first few weeks at university, and he couldn't believe. He said, "Oh, this is fantastic. What's this all about?" I said, "Well, that's just the way it is." And it inspired him to go to university. He went to University of East Anglia to do an IT degree. So in a sense, it changed 2 people's lives, or me directly, him indirectly. And I met people that I would never have met. I did things I would never have done. And I think it gave me a confidence that I would never have had. It was a launch pad for my life. I felt good about the subjects. I felt good about the majority of the lecturers. I felt good about the students I was with. It was a different group of people that I knew from before. And I just have, I mean, it's a long time ago. I'm an old geezer, but I, I have very fond memories and all of that. And when you guys started working this project, I said to my wife, I must go and talk to them because it really did have a big impact on me. I just have very fond memories of the college. The subjects, all of a sudden I was studying subjects that interested me and I was enthusiastic and I suddenly thought, yeah, I'm pretty good at this. And yeah, I just have very positive memories. It felt, because I hadn't been in since I left, since I came to get my A-level results in 1981 and confirmed that I got my university place. I don't think I've been back since. And when I walked back in here for the first time, it was quite a strange feeling, almost overwhelming. So, and it brought back a lot of memories, obviously. It was, and it's lovely to be here now. But on the other hand, I think it's really fantastic that the college is developing. I think being in the city centre is really good because I think it can only help Wolverhampton City Centre, which, you know, does need a bit of help. I think it's great. And, you know, the learning quarter, the prospect of a learning quarter, I think is wonderful. And so, yeah, I'll be a little sad when they close the place. But for the future, I think it's marvellous. I think it's fantastic. I was very inspired by James Avis, who I understand went on to become a professor of education, and I think it was at one of the Sheffield universities, but I'd have to check that. I moved back to Wolverhampton about 2.5 years ago. Came up with my wife, who I'd met at university, but she was from London. We were moving here to live for various reasons. And I was driving along the Compton Road, and I saw a fella walking along the road, and I swear he looked no different. It was James Avis. And I pulled up my car and I jumped out and I ran towards him. And the poor bloke, I said, no, sorry. I said, you won't remember me, but I was a student with you for 3 years, O and A levels. And you were an inspiration for me. You changed my life. And I just wanted to say thank you. I've always wanted to say thank you. And he said, oh, okay, it's very nice. And we were both, you know, went on our separate ways. But it was great just to be able to say thank you because the college was inspirational, but that fella in particular was an inspiration for me. So James Avis, if you ever see this, thank you.